I want everyone to make this world like that no other kid has to go through the same stuff or go through the same nightmares that I did when I was a kid. So my name is Ridhima Pandey. I'm 14 years old and I live in Uttarakhand, India. And today I'm here to introduce B Talks, which is a series of climate activists trying to inspire and motivate other climate activists or other youngsters to take action. Basically, the thing that I really enjoy doing is being in, not really in a wild, but being around nature, being with animals. And I love visiting like rescue centers and playing with animals, street dogs, and I have cats at my house, so I love playing with them and just being in nature and just like, being quiet and enjoying my surroundings because I really like nature. When the Kedarnath flash flood occurred in my home state of Uttarakhand. So, when the flash flood occurred, I was staying at my home and my mom was watching the television like 24/7. So I just sat next to her and I was watching what she was seeing in the television. And I saw, broken houses and, a lot of water in Ganges and broken trees and, all muddy water having, sediments of broken houses. And when I saw those things, I felt really bad. And I asked my mom the reason behind what the destruction, because I didn't know what flash floods were at that point of time. I didn't even have, that was my very first time seeing that kind of destruction. So the first time I saw it, I was kind of like intrigued. I was very sad and anxious about, to know more about what had happened. And that was the time when my mom introduced me to what sort of flash floods are and about cloud bursts and what happened at that particular place. And from that point of time I started having these nightmares that I died because of a flash flood, or I lost my parents, or that is water everywhere. I can't really, escape the place and stuff like that. So, after having these nightmares for a while, I asked my mom, the reason behind the flash floods, and how can I stop them? How can I stop flash floods from occurring? Because I don't want to die someday because of flash flood or a natural disaster. So that sort of is when my mom told me about what climate change and global warming is. And that sort of is after knowing about climate change and global warming, I sort of started, I'm learning more, and gradually I ended up taking action and becoming a climate activist. What I did was that I read articles, and in an article I wrote that, I read that living a sustainable life helps. And then I started Googling up, what can I do? What kind of changes can I make in my life? So then I started with, using less water and, just trying to cut out plastic entirely from my life. And at the same time, reducing my carbon footprints and, reusing, old clothes and saving electricity, water, not wasting food. It was not enough in the sense of my vision, because I just wanted to change stuff not only for me, but I wanted to bring a change which would help the kids all around the world, in my country, kids on the streets, or even if I'm living in the north, I wanted kids in India who are living in, even if they're living in the south, I wanted them to have a happy life. So for according to my vision, definitely it was not enough, and that's the reason sort of is why I did the petition and gradually started taking bigger actions. I just felt like, government had the power in their hand to change the way, the people or the factory owners or the corporates have been working, but they don't want to do that, because at the very end, all these things, all this destruction or, everything kind of gives them profit for a while. So, they were thinking about their short term profit, but not about, how in the long term it is going to, make me or my generation die someday. So, that sort of is why I decided to do this petition against the government of India, because at the very same time, because I felt like, just telling the government what they were doing wrong, I just felt like, they would understand, my feelings, and they would be like, okay, yes, we should change. And, things would be, changed just in like in a short amount of time, which didn't happen, by the way. But yeah, that sort of is what was my vision when I, filed the petition. They, in the mid 2018 or in the beginning of 2019, they dismissed my petition. and they said the government was doing everything right and there was no need to give any directions to the government. And I mean, I was kind of very disappointed in the beginning, and I was like, this is not right, because I, at that point of time, in that span of time, I'd learned a lot. So I was like, this is definitely not the right decision, and I was not satisfied. So we took it to the Supreme Court for the reconsideration, but it's been pending there for like mm, about 2 years now. It has not been admitted by the Supreme Court. They just, give us the next date every time it comes to the hearing. So I mean, it's at the Supreme Court, and it's still pending right now. I mean, I imagine things, being very, very worse, and I imagine myself struggling just to survive, or just to breathe properly, or just to find out water, like clean or proper water for me to drink, or to find food, because I mean, everything is interconnected. So when I see people not taking action, I just see, things getting very, very worse. So what I really want to tell everyone is just that, I want this world, I want everyone to make this world like that no other kid has to, go through the same stuff, or go through the same nightmares that I did when I was a kid, or no kid has to stress about, whether they are going to live or not, in the future. And they should, just enjoy their future, just enjoy their life. And at the same time, I want people to change the way, they've been living for so many years, and I want people to, change their life sets and lifestyles. And at the same time, I want people to change their mindsets in a way and live a more sustainable life. And also, just at the same point, think about the coming generations, think about, the nature, think about the animals, rather than just being a selfish person and just thinking about themselves and just thinking about their profit. People should think about, how their actions are impacting the kids, or how their actions are impacting, the kids, or the animals, or the whole society in general. The bad kitty. क्या है? We have to bring the changes ourselves. We have to make this world ideal, because I mean, the older generation is kind of very, I mean, their minds are kind of like very hijacked with the, profit or money and everything. And it just seems like, they're not interested in, our future, or, in conservation, and they're not interested in, how their actions are impacting us. So we have to be the one making them realize that, you are doing this wrong and you have to change, and, take actions. Just don't wait for others to help you or guide you, or, don't take too much time in thinking, because we don't have much time left. So just start taking action, and once you'll change yourself, you'll see the world changing. So change yourself and try to change the community around you. I mean, seeing the number of youths getting involved in the fight, whether it's through Fridays for Future, or whether it's, them becoming an individual activist, I feel like it really gives me a lot of hope when I see a lot of other kids, or, the other youngsters having the same thoughts as mine, and, them doing the stuff, them loving the stuff that I love, and them taking the actions that I have been taking, and, us collaborating and stuff like that. It does give me a lot of hope. And I just feel like, when I see the strikes happening, when I, talk to a young person, and, when we talk, I just feel like, when we talk, it just feels like, that's the same exact person like me. We might have different stories, we might be from different countries, but it's just that, we have the same kind of struggles, we have the same kind of goal, we want to, achieve the same thing, and that is, to have a better future and to protect our rights. So I just feel like seeing the young people taking action really gives me a lot of hope when it comes to, tackling the climate change, or just, protecting the child rights of, the kids all around the world itself.